Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me up in the wheelhouse of the Amigo. It's really nice to be here with you.
Pleasure fishing with you as always, Phil.
Hey, that was really a lot of fun. We just finished up a 2-day trip. We gave it hell at Nicholas. We tried for the sea bass. In fact, we tried in the morning, we tried in the afternoon, and I was like, okay, time to go to Clemente. And this was after we fished rockfish and limited everybody out with this beautiful quality fish. And I hear you come on the PA and say, no, we're going to go in and check it one more time. I don't want to leave this island. Nobody's been here in the afternoon. So, I mean, your work ethic is really great.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's part of fishing, just looking around and taking advantage of every opportunity you have, even though the wind was blowing, and who knows, we could have caught a few. But good rockfish fishing out there. Lots of big sheephead and even some nice bass. We gave it 100% effort, and we didn't manage to catch any game fish, but it was a slow day.
Go ahead.
That's how this season's been. It's been real hit or miss. One day you'll catch some fish somewhere, and the next day you go back and there's just nothing there.
And the other thing about this season is I pan around to the front here, and maybe we'll take one over the bow. This weather has been an A1 pain this year, hasn't it? I mean, this freaking fan, somebody needs to turn it off.
We've had blow after blow after blow, and kind of cooled down the water, but it's starting to warm up again. It's 68 degrees. See on the water temp gauge there.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty clean. That's a good start. I think it's just a matter of time before it gets with it here. There's more and more fish being seen at the island. We caught a handful of smaller yellowtail, lost another handful, so that's new fish that's moved in, I think, off the kelps from down below.
Excellent. How old are you? 23?
23, gonna be 24.
How does all this, there's a lot of responsibility here. I mean, there's not only the responsibility of finding fish. I get the feeling that's the easy part, and that's hard. But I mean, you've got all these souls on here. You've got their lives in your hands. You got to have good food out. You've got to be prepared for an emergency. You've got to navigate. You got to make all these decisions on where to go. You got to listen to grumpy passengers sometimes. There's a lot to it. How do you enjoy? Are you enjoying this whole thing?
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's a lot of work, a lot of responsibility. It gets stressful at times, but I love doing it. And you got number one, safety, and then you got to make sure all your paperwork and stuff's in order, which can be a hassle sometimes.
Yeah.
And then making sure the galley's stocked, making sure you're putting out a good product in the galley. That's very important in my opinion. Putting out good food, especially like trips like this where the fishing's a little slower. That kind of makes up for it. And then fishing's stressful, but when it's good, it's good, and when it's bad, you just gotta try. As long as you give it effort and show the people you're trying your best, then that's really all that matters.
Yeah, and then we see that time and time with you. I really love fishing with you, and you did it again this time. Why don't you tune us up a little bit on the improvements that were made to the boat, because they are numerous.
Yeah, so the wheelhouse, you see the bunks behind me, those are all newer, and we redid the galley. It was a little outdated, so new galley equipment, new benches.
Little things like when the old galley, like you had to kind of bump the cook out of the way to get coffee.
Yeah.
Now the coffee thing, so all by itself, it's easy. Just little things like that made a huge difference.
Yeah, we made a lot of little improvements that, unless you're on here every day, you wouldn't notice. A lot more storage. The galley's a lot easier to cook in. We got an oven now, and we have a little more options on what we can cook.
Oh, here comes your second captain, Anthony. How you doing? Watch that cord. Don't trip over the rock again. Did you bring us something to eat, Anthony? Very bad. I already ate. So go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
And then we did a whole repower this season. We had to take the engines out through the roof. That was an interesting project. I've never really done a repower before, so I learned a lot of new things.
Good.
And it was a lot of work. We were doing maintenance for about 5 months, and but it came out nice. Everything down there in the engine room's brand new, runs great. Couldn't be happier with that.
I would run into you occasionally on the docks, and I could just see it written all over your face, like, God, I want to go fishing.
Yeah.
It got long, but it paid off.
Yeah, it did. It needed to get done. Now it's out of the way, and now we could start focusing on other improvements during our downtime.
Excellent. The other day, you call me up and you say, we are freaking surrounded by giant bluefin tuna, and they were big ones. And Janelle was on the boat, I guess, because
Yeah.
when I walked into the ticket office, she was telling me, she works at 22nd Street, everybody. She was telling me, I mean, that was an incredible school of fish, and it was here one day and gone the next. But what'd you see?
Acres of bluefin jumping out of the water. They're on anchovy, on smaller bait. We're fishing bass on the tip of the east end of the island, and kind of just was looking around, and we saw all this foam like 2 miles off the island. So we pulled our anchor and went to check it out. It was kind of too far to tell what it was, and we pulled up, and it was 80 to 175 pound bluefin jumping out of the water. And then when you start looking around, there's another spot, breezers up, a lot of fish around. We spent a couple hours doing that, chasing them around. It was fun to watch. We were definitely undergunned. We weren't prepared for any of that. A lot of guys had just tackle that was way too light. We hooked 2 fish. One of them was on jig, bowed up to a foamer and threw a jig in the middle of it, got bit instantly.
Jeez.
Had it on for about, I'd say a minute. And then we hooked another one on bait. That one came unbuttoned as well. They were both pretty hefty fish. But yeah, that bluefin's starting to make its way up here. I'm sure once the water cleans up on the banks and stuff, that they'll move out there, and that'll be well within our range for multi-day trips.
So it sounds to me like it's kind of almost like the old traditional. The fall is normally, before August out there on Tanner Cortez, and at least when I was a kid fishing out there all the time, you didn't even think about it. It was a fall thing, and it sounds like maybe with this cooler water, although it's pretty warm here, like you said, 68, but maybe going back to that kind of a bite.
There's definitely a little change from previous years happening. I mean, the water's warm, but that's just a new development. It was 62, 63, even 58 degrees in some areas around the island for at least a month, basically from when we started fishing until a week ago. And I thought we were going to have a colder water year, but the water seemed to warm back up. But it seems like it's only in this general little area here. All the northern islands like San Nick and Santa Barbara, those are still kind of cold. But who knows what will happen? It's hard to say. But yeah, typically the banks are a fall fishery. August, sometimes late July, fish start getting out there. Yellowtail and bluefin.
Kind of saw a similar thing going on in San Diego recently, where there was a south swell and it seemed to be shoving up some warm water. Mm-hmm. And along the beach, there was warmer water, and they even caught some yellowfin down there. I don't know if you saw that, but they had probably a dozen yellowfin, maybe more than that. And then, but a little bit offshore, it kept hopes up for albacore, because that water stayed a little cool out there, like that 63 degrees. So it's kind of mixed, isn't it, our conditions?
Yeah, it's definitely a mixed mash of just it. Every day's been different. Some days the water's colder, 65, 66, and then definitely on the front the water's warmer. So it just depends where you are. The water temps have been varied.
And you talk about change. I mean, if you catch them one day at Island X, then you might as well not go back to Island X the next day the way it's been this year, right?
Yeah, that's why I was thinking. I was like, catch them one day. It's lately, you go back the next day and you don't see much. But they have tails. They swim off somewhere. I mean, this morning where we started, I woke up, got out of my bunk. I saw a bit of sea bass on the meter. Get a little spread of it. I guess we hooked one and came unbuttoned.
Yeah, we had a mystery fish.
Yeah.
Bob Gifford.
Yeah, but yeah, there's fish around. It's just a matter of whether it wants to bite or not. Seems like every day it's a different story.
What do you look for here in the future? Do you think the sea bass bite's ever going to settle down, and we're going to get a consistent good? I know I'm asking you to guess, and it's all conjecture, but do you think we'll get a sea bass bite? And if well, let's start there. Do you think we will?
It's hard to say. I mean, there's been a little, like, here and there, small scores of sea bass.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any, like, real big hits.
Right.
Like up at the Channel Islands. It's like 5 or 6 here, 5 or 6 there, maybe 10 one day. And then that's it. Maybe, I don't think this year we're going to see the volume of sea bass like they have up north. I haven't seen that down here since I started running a boat.
Yeah, those guys up there have been blessed, haven't they? They've just had it cornholed.
It could be good. It could be good. It could be tough up there like anywhere, but they've definitely had more of a volume than we have had down here.
Is there any squid around here that would, like, any squid nests that would portend a sea bass bite?
Yeah, there are small ones.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen much volume of squid, like giant floaters or anything. It's mostly small spots where you scratch 10 scoops maybe, and then you sit on there and the sun comes up, you catch a few fish in the morning. That's how the bite's been kind of lately.
And yellowtail, what do you think? Is that going to get rolling to the point? We should have a good yellowtail year, right?
I think so. It just needs another few weeks to a month to kind of get in the groove. Every trip we've caught 2 to 7 or 8 yellowtail. We're seeing them around. It's just, I think it's a matter of time before we start getting big hits. But I think that's coming here.
Good. And how about offshore? I mean, you already saw that big jag of bluefin. That's probably, as you point to, the fall, do you think? Or maybe an August thing?
Yeah, I think last year we started seeing a volume of consistent bluefin up here around July. So I think it's soon coming. I know there's a hurricane down by Cabo. It'll probably push some warmer water up. And as well as the water push the bluefin down below up.
So I'm out of the loop on that. There's another hurricane. I know they had a hurricane on the Mexican mainland in May, the first or the earliest in the Eastern Pacific ever. So that's weird, huh?
That's what, I don't know, we were looking at the weather and Nick, the deckhand, mentioned me. He goes, "Oh, we don't want to be below Cabo right now. There's a hurricane."
Oh,
so
okay.
I didn't look into it. That's just.
Oh, so we'll blame Nick if this is bum dope, right?
Yeah, if it's bad information, blame Nick.
Your crew is super young. That has the benefit of, I mean, these guys can actually keep working and working and working and working.
Yeah.
But Nick he's an unusually knowledgeable guy for 22 years old. I mean, he'll talk about albacore in the past. It's almost like he studies this stuff. He's into it.
Yeah, he is. He's into it. He loves it. He wants to be here every day.
Yeah, I can tell.
Which is good, when I was a deckhand on Native Sun, he's a few years younger than me. He pinheaded when I was decking and cooking on there, so I kind of trained him a little bit and taught him just the basics of working on a boat. So he's been with me for a while.
And Anthony, he's into that cheeseburger over there. He's a good guy. It's good to it's really good to see you again, man. Have you on board?
Absolutely, Phil.
Yeah. Thank you. You mentioned a second ago when you were decking on the Native Sun and cooking on the Native Sun. Mm-hmm. It makes me think, and I think you're probably grateful that Mark Pisano Jr., very important guy in this business, accomplished a lot. He didn't say to his son, "Hey, you're going straight to the top. You're going to be a captain now and follow in my footsteps." He said, "You're going to start down where everybody else starts and learn this business."
Yeah.
And you did, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to just jump to the top.
I agree.
You need some time on the water and learn how to read conditions and just get a lay of the land, and the only way to do that is start from the bottom. So if you just threw somebody up here without any prior experience, it would not be good.
Yeah, I totally agree. As you look ahead, do you have any openings on the Amigo? You really don't have a lot, do you?
No, July there's 3 or 4 days that are open. August maybe 1 or 2. September same thing, a few at most, and then October is pretty much all sold out. November and December, there's some openings. And we have a open party trip coming up in a few days. It's a 2-day. I don't know what we're gonna do. We might do something different. I don't know. It's hard to say. Things change so drastically from day to day, fishing wise. That I know the weather's gonna be good, so we have all our options are open.
Excellent. I think it'd be interesting if you would take us. It might be difficult. It might not, but just take us through your schedule on a 2-day trip. When do you sleep? How take me through your schedule. You get down on the boat at what time to leave, or you're already on the boat, right?
Yeah, most times I'm already on the boat, and the important thing about 2 days is making sure you have all your necessities, like just galley supplies. Make sure you have enough toilet paper, coffee, drinks, water, stuff like that. You don't want to run out of anything.
And do you personally get involved in that, or do you trust your galley? Oh, you do. Okay.
I trust them enough to make a list and have an idea what's on the boat. But I'll shop some days. If I'm off the boat, getting on the boat, I'll go to the Smart and Final or wherever we do our shopping and get what we need. And then once that's squared away, fuel, if we need fuel, just go. Basically, I have a checklist in my head I go over of supplies and stuff. Get our bait, and then we have a lot of options on 2-day trips. So formulating a fishing plan is can be difficult at times, but that's something I go over constantly in my head and think, should I go here, there, what's biting here, how's it been, should I check this new area since I have more time. There's a lot that goes into it, and but when you're out here every day, you pretty much have a pretty good understanding of what's going on and what's biting.
How many hours sleep a day do you get? Do you get 8 hours? No freaking way.
It depends. On the way out, most of the time, I'm just thinking of like, oh, where should I start? Where should I go?
But you're in your bunk, right?
I'm in my
Anthony's
bunk,
driving?
Yeah, but I don't sleep too good at night personally, and then usually I get a good nap on the way in. So I'm probably
unless some idiot's up here interviewing you for a podcast, right?
I usually get 6 to 8 hours of sleep, maybe.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Unless we're fishing bluefin at night, then that's a whole.
Oh my God! Yeah, talk about that. I mean, then the crew just gets raked over the coals, right?
Yeah. Especially, some trips that night fishing makes your whole trip. So.
Yeah.
So.
But you've already been fishing all day long. Now's the time where you're going to catch a few winks, maybe, and now that's out. You're trying to find a school of bluefin.
Yeah. So, usually Anthony will drive at night and stuff, and I'll lay down for a little bit. But yeah. So, 2 days are fun trips to fish on. A lot of options.
What's your favorite kind of fishing as a captain?
Bluefin fishing's fun. I really enjoy that, looking and finding fish, like visual, like bird schools and big sonar schools. That's running the boat. That's what I enjoy. Fishing yellowtail at Clemente is always fun. It's hard to say. I just like it. As long as we're catching fish, I like it.
That's what I would think, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be the most important thing. All right, well, shoot, if anybody wants to get some more info on joining you on the Amigo, and I highly recommend they do it. As I said, this trip, fishing wasn't wide open, you and I, but we filled up with the rockfish. I've got 5 guys who are saying, when's the next trip I'm on? And that's a testament. When the fishing isn't wide open and you got people lining up to book again, that's because the crew is great, the food is great. All the stuff you have control over is great.
Thank you.
Yeah. If people want more info, do they call the landing, or do they go to you directly, or what's the best way?
Either, so you could call the landing and they'll get you in touch with Aaliyah, our booking lady. She has a boat phone that's just for charters. Or you could go online and get that number as well on amigosportfishing.com. But that's the best way. Contact her. She has a full calendar and all the available dates.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, one final question. We're dragging jigs on the way home from Clemente. Okay? maybe a bluefin, maybe an albacore, maybe nothing. Will we, and I will come back and update this later, will we get a stop on the way home today? Will we get a jig strike on anything besides a piece of trash or kelp or some crap like that?
You never know. I mean, I know
you got to say yes or no on this one, man, because I'm going to come back and say
yes or no. Okay. Honestly, my honest opinion is probably not.
My honest opinion is probably not. But we're a couple fishermen, so we're going to keep our fingers crossed anyway, right?
The worst that can happen is we don't catch anything.
Exactly. We're still trying, though, all the way back.
Yeah.
Mark, always a pleasure. I count myself very fortunate to know all you guys, Anthony, you, everybody here on the boat. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it. Great having you out.
What'd you guys hook on the way in?
The biggest brown bass I've seen.
Brown bass ever in the world, man. Gunny sack.
Yeah, the Gutty sack.
How long was he winding on it?
50 minutes.
Oh my
52.
God. Why didn't you ask him to stop the boat?
They don't stop for trash.
And you knew it? Oh, you could see it bouncing out?
We thought it was kelp.
We thought it was a bonita at first. We thought maybe an albacore. We didn't know it was at the end because it was that far back.
I thought it was an albacore until about 100 yards out.
Yeah. And then we saw some brown. And we're like, okay, well maybe it's a Spanish jack. We don't know what it is. And then we find out, okay, maybe it's a piece of kelp. No. We actually go ahead and reel it in, and it's a gunny sack.
Hey, I didn't see that bottle in there anymore. Does this have anything to do with that?
I don't know, but I got jackpot for today.
You did?
No, the Gutty sack.
Gunny sack for the day. 50 minutes on a gunny sack being trolled at what? 12 knots?
12 knots.
Yeah.
I